Okay, reaction.
Camera.
Right, so today we're going to make a line limited wedding design, and it's a formal bouquet. And if I read from the Old Society of Floristry handbook, which has the definitions, it says this design shows a style using bold flowers and decorative or large foliage, employing a minimum quantity of materials relating to the size of the design to maximum effect. Construction follows that used for formal bouquets. And by formal, it can be in an actual holder. It's not a tied, or it can be wired. Okay. So here, my bold flowers are going to be my gerberas, and they need to be wired. So I'm using sort of wool within this design because this is sort of level 3, and we want to make it have a design feature in there, and say wool is quite trendy. So I've covered a 56 wire with some parafilm, and it's only just because it's easier for the water, if we can get that out, to stick to the wire. And I'm using this as a decorative feature around as a supporting wire. So I've used some brilliant wire so that it's attractive to actually attach it to the wire, and then I'm going to cover that wire with the wool. So you can actually get, like you get paper covered wire, you can actually get wool covered wire as well. So you could actually buy it like this. I say wool is really trendy at the moment. Does it? Yeah. So that's a good point. So pipe cleaner, it doesn't look like a pipe cleaner. So perhaps we'll have to get some pipe cleaners in. Yeah? So this is going to be my support wire. I've laid the bouquet down. I've used 3 for my return end. I've got 1 for my focal, and then I've got 2 at the top. So for a support wire, I'm going through the stem. It's a bit long. So through the head. So I could, if it was perhaps a decorative wire, I could come out the end and do a little swirl. Right, so I'm coming round the stem. So again, I could make that in like little rounds. Right, so it doesn't have to literally just be straight round, you can go round. Like so. And I'm actually going to keep the focal flower clear. This is a bridie holder, and I personally like to use an old bit of foam, actually tilt it towards me, because that is where the bride will actually, it would be seen. So if I've got it in front of me, that's the angle. So we've also got these bouquet stands, so you could actually put your bouquet there and work on it, say, but do look down and put it at an angle. Right, so other things that I've got here, does anyone know what these are? Do you know the scabious flower that comes in the summer with the blue flower? Not very long lasting. Well, it's like the seed head of the scabious, which is lovely this time of year. You'll know, what's this one? So you've got your Gaelics. So here I've put some of your bear grass through, and I've put it on the silver side so that you can actually see. Right, so that's your sort of Gaelics leaves. And Christina's wired some Gaelics leaves and sort of rolled them and put the bullion wire around. And also rolled some leaves as well. So to follow the wool theme through, we've got like the weaving method, but we've actually used some wool to come down the centre as well. So use that as you would like the bear grass to actually weave through and back. Okay, so let's start. So I've laid my bouquet down so that I can actually sort of see the sort of size that I want. And I'm going to start with my longish stem. And I'm going to cut it a little bit more than the length that I need. And cut my support wire there. And then with a 90 wire, I'm going to come round and make a single leg mount, because the longest wire, I actually want a wire to come through and hook onto the cage, so that it'll help not coming out of the foam. Right, let's cut that a little bit shorter. So this needs to be right at the bottom, like so. And then my wires come through here, and I'm going to hook that down. Alright, so can you see right at the angle? And it's at 45 degrees. So it's mainly like the first placement. That I'm going to wire. Coming up the holder, like so. So if you look from the side, can you see from the profile? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 at the back. Yeah. 2, 3, 7. I'm going to use 6. I'm going to support wire, and because this is shorter, I'm actually going to internally wire this one. Right, so any shorter flowers you can internal. Right, and that's going to be my focal. Now for my return end. Really pretty pink gerbera. Right, so if you can see there, you've got your flowers coming up to your focal and then coming back, and you should be able to move your gerberas a little so that they face bride. Right, so now I've wired this with a 90 wire. It's going to come to the bottom. I've got little balls of wool, again to repeat the wool of the support wire on the gerbras. I'm going to put a couple under the focal. I've got some fascia here, which I'll put to the side, some lovely little fascia japonica. So remember when it's on top of one on top of the other, what's that called?
Shadowing.
Shadowing, yep, good. So, you know, at your level, don't just think about putting foliage just around the holder like you would perhaps a posy arrangement. So here, oops, I've balanced, yeah? I'm putting two there and one there. So other things I've got these lovely skimia. So you don't really introduce another flower, because if you remember with definition, there's only like one main flower. It's because it's a limited bouquet. But these are really just sort of seed heads. Oops. Right, so I place those recessed underneath the focal. The Gaelics, which I've stitched some of the bear grass through. And really I want that to be seen. So make sure all your techniques are seen. And then some other little bits underneath. So you might want to perhaps use the back of the Gaelics, because it's a lighter colour than the fascia. And then we've got all these lovely other bits as well. Alright, so do you see why you've used some of these techniques, otherwise it's a little bit boring. So here I'm putting them through, so you can just through. I'll show you in a minute. You can see the Gaelics. Yeah? Through. And then we've got the rolled Gaelics as well. It's wide, so I've got to put those. So this is where your techniques are really useful. So hopefully you've done a lot of techniques. Right, for another texture, we've got this fern. I mean, it's almost like the weaving, isn't it? Yeah? So this is a coral fern. So you can balance that at the top. So who do you think this might be used for? Can you get the idea? Because